Right, so today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the fourth and final expansion slash DLC slash whatever this game is calling them. I haven't got through all of the Among Us DLC yet, but I feel like I just want to bash out these videos as quickly as possible and get the content rolling for you guys over spending a huge amount of time on being a completionist. I can be a completionist later, just make the videos now. But yeah, I haven't gotten these guys yet. I haven't bought these guys yet. I think we're going to play as Ariana. And we're going to go to Neo Galuga. We're not going to go endless. We're not going to go inverse. We are going to use Arcanas because why not? Healing because I'm going to pick up something that heals me at some point. Oh yeah, it's Spread Shot. Yeah, this is my favourite of the new weapons. I don't really want to use that if I can help it. The only character that I ever use Spellstream with is Eleanor. Any other character, it just takes up too many slots. He takes too long to evolve. If I was doing an endless run, then possibly, but I'm not. I'm just doing a showcase at the moment. So this is possibly, I'm gonna say it, this is probably the best DLC in my opinion. Right. And what I mean by that is not that technically it's the best DLC. It's not my favourite because I don't think I can feel good putting a collaborative DLC as my favourite. I don't want either of those. I'll pick up the other whip as well. Right, but the whole point of this DLC and this map and the new characters is all of them need a upgrade kit, all of the new weapons need an upgrade kit to evolve. They need an upgrade kit and one of the pre-existing passives as well. The good thing about the upgrade kits is if you're on... The upgrade kits all count as an individual passive. They don't, like, level up. But also, they don't count towards the passive slot. So you can still pick up 6 passives as well as many upgrade kits as you can find. The problem is I wouldn't personally pick up more than one Contra DLC weapon on any other map than Neo Galuga, because you're not going to be getting more than one upgrade kit, so you're only going to be able to upgrade 1 out of 6, or 1 out of how many other weapons that you get. So I would say where they do kind of, where yes, the new weapons are cool, a lot of them are just extensions and just better versions of pre-existing weapons. So, like, the long gun is a better version of the knife. The shotgun is a better version of the bracelet. And so on and so forth. I do think that because you can't use, or you can't upgrade as many as you want, because you're only getting like 1 upgrade kit in any other stage, that does kind of limit the potential of the new weapons. And as much as they're all good, as much as they're all useful and they're all powerful in their own right, only a couple of them are really creative. Like, I did sing the praises of the Among Us weapons, or the weapons that are introduced in the Among Us DLC, because of how creative they were in taking the concept of Among Us and translating it to Vampire Survivors. I feel like with Contra, because it's already a very, like, action-forward game, the creativity kind of lacks. Only some of them, like, I think Bahamut has a really creative weapon, especially when you come to evolve it. Like, I do think that's one of the most creative weapons in the DLC, if not in the game. But I can't say the same for every weapon. A lot of them are just like different variations of guns. Where I think Contra kind of fits more in the realm of shit. Okay, we're just gonna... we're not gonna be able to get the Fubamalu, or whatever it's called. The Fuwapalu, I believe, is the name. Shut up. I do like the amount of weapons and pickups on the Neo Galuga stage. I don't think it's as big. I might be wrong. It might, like, technically, it might be the biggest map, but I don't think it is. But there are 2 new maps in this DLC. We've got Neo Galuga, which is kind of the main one, and we've got the other one I forget the name of. But it's more of like a chase, like, vehicle level, like like a la TMNT Shredder's Revenge, if that makes sense. It's more kind of like, it's more gimmick focused, which I like. I wouldn't mind seeing a bit more of, actually. I think the gimmick stages, there aren't too many in the game. And I wouldn't mind seeing some more get added. And I feel like that might be where my biggest criticism lies with this DLC in particular, is because I feel like the other ones, all of the other ones, are more creative. I feel like this kind of goes the opposite direction of being in your face cool, because it is based on Contra, and that's exactly what Contra is. That's exactly what Contra should be. It feels like they've taken something that fits so well and done. Saying bare minimum seems rude. It's not bare minimum. This is still very good. It's still Vampire Survivors. It still is a great... It still is a great, expansion. A great DLC. And I feel like, but I do feel like more care and more attention went into making the stage cool and like enemy designs. And what I said in my previous video, where I thought a lot of the enemy designs in the Among Us stage might have been made because there were assets made for the Contra stage. I'm completely wrong. None of them are repeated. There's no repeat. I think all of the enemies in the Contra stage are completely new. I think they're all taken somewhat from Contra, a little bit. Obviously with creative license, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. This is the problem with me doing my Vampire Survivors videos like this. I run out of things to say really quickly. I do... Not I think. It's just a genuine fact. There are more characters added in this update. Like, new characters added in this update and new weapons added in this update than have been added before. And that's kind of a double-edged sword, because yes, there are more weapons. Yes, there are more. Yes, more is good, more is more. But also, is it too much? Because of the way that the game is set out. It's something that I've brought up a bit before. Are there too many weapons in the game? I still think no, but I think we're getting to a point where, and I feel like this might be why there aren't more passives being added to the game. I feel like we're getting to a point where there might be too much choice. I don't feel like that's a bad thing at all. And maybe there's no such thing as too much choice, and maybe just keep adding to the game and the game will be all the better for it. Maybe. But we're already seeing it with... We're already seeing, like, restrictions being put on the game by, like, having... like, needing the upgrade kits. And then we've got skills like Ebony Wing and, like, the Spell Strike, Spell Stream, Spell whatever. What else do I need? It's a heart I'm gonna get anyway. Duplicator. I have also said in previous videos that I'm more interested in seeing the next DLC be an original idea, not be a crossover. Because as much as the crossovers are fun, I feel like bringing original stuff into the game, more original stuff into the game, kind of forces more creativity. And as much as I'm not the biggest fan of the Tales of Vescari DLC, we need Clover as well. Go Clover. So we do need 4. There's one down there anyway. Yeah, as much as I wasn't the biggest fan of the Tales of Vescari DLC, I feel like the weapons that were introduced, there were less of them, but I do feel like the weapons that were introduced were very exciting and were extremely creative. Duplicators, so we're going to go up here, get a duplicator. I hate, and this is part of the reason why I don't do Let's Plays, and when I do play games, it's mostly live. I hate being one of those people, or one of those Let's Players or like gaming YouTubers that's just like, oh, we're gonna go over here, we're gonna do this, we're gonna go over here, we're gonna do that, we're gonna go over here and do this. I really don't want to be that. That's what I want to avoid the most. Like, the biggest thing I want to do with content, and the biggest thing that I have at the forefront of my mind is entertainment, and being entertaining. And the last thing I want to be is boring. And if you enjoy that, more power to you. I really don't. So I want to be the kind of channel that I enjoy watching. I feel like that might mean like leaning more into the village idiot side a bit more. Getting an evil. Okay, that's good. That's good. Hopefully, that means less of the freaking clouds. Or crowds, not clouds. What am I talking about? There we go, village idiot. Okay, we need to get the claw somehow. The claw. The next 2 months are going to be huge for the channel. Just a little bit of a sneak preview into what I have planned. Not only is there going to be a stream of Disney Speedstorm content coming your way soon, because I do feel more invigorated and excited to make content on that, even if it is just doing like I should really be like getting a report up. There we go. Yeah, not only do we have that, we also have... I have a feeling there's a new DLC for Vampire Survivors in the pipeline. Like, maybe not in the next 2 months, but definitely at the start of next year. But there have usually been, like, two a year. Or like they've been semi-consistent with like every like 5 months. There's been a new DLC, and the last one was April. So we're definitely close to getting a new one at some point soon. Or like some kind of big update. And I'm excited because I have no idea what it's gonna be. Genuinely no clue. I have no guesses either. If it is this month, which I very much doubt it, because there's been no like trailers or anything. At least there's been nothing that I've been privy to anyway. Nothing that I've known about. I do feel like there's also a lack of... There's a lack of Vampire Survivors content creators just in general. Maybe because the game doesn't really lend itself towards being a focal or like main game for a creator, which I totally get. I would struggle to make like consistent content on a game like this. Like I struggle making inconsistent content on a game like this. I struggle making consistent content on anything. I feel like that's probably my biggest downfall, just as a creator in general, is my refusal to just kind of like stick with one thing. I pretty much looked at all of my hobbies which one, and if I was asked what hobby do you have that you make content on? Yes. Because the whole reason why I started reading more, like reading The Witcher especially, was so that I had a hobby that I didn't make content on. And then as soon as I got done with that first book, I was like, I need to I need to start making content on this. Oh, the big turtle. What I mean by when I said that it feels like they put more care into the actual stage than the characters. Well, of course they put care into the characters. Of course. It does feel out of the blue that we've left the fantasy setting, or the very like sword and sorcery kind of setting of the base game and the first two expansions, and we've gone full sci-fi. Like Among Us was like the Among Us the Among Us DLC was very much just like deep space, and this is like Starship Troopers level of like full like science fiction bro movie schlock. What level is this spread shot on? It's weird that I haven't upgraded that yet. Like, it's weird that that hasn't been upgraded yet. This is where I feel like it, the DLC kind of comes into its own a bit. And this is kind of the point. This is like the big thing of this DLC. Because I have felt like the bosses, or the boss encounters, have been a little bit disappointing throughout Vampire Survivors. Like, they all feel very, like, run-of-the-mill. There's not much creativity. As much as there is creativity in everything else. Did I not pick up the right... I may have made myself look like an absolute idiot. Ah. Ah. I... I was meant to pick up... But yeah, this is what I think is the big, like, that's really cool of this DLC. I do feel like it goes by a lot shorter than... I feel like a lot of the PlayStation bosses and stuff go by a lot quicker than... Maybe because I'm not playing on... whatchamacallit? Because I'm not playing on, what's the freaking word? Inverse. Because I'm not playing on Inverse. Anyways, I've made myself look like an idiot by not picking the right passive. But... that is my... I did show off a few of the other weapons in the DLC anyway, and obviously there's their own characters attached to those DLCs. Attached to those weapons. But yeah, that's the Operation Guns DLC in a nutshell, basically. And I think in terms of what it brings to the game, like in terms of what's there and the amount of content and the amount of like stuff that's new in the game, this is the best DLC by far. And in terms of just fun value, my favourite. In terms of adding a new boss, all of that stuff, great. In terms of creativity and in terms of having like interesting new weapons, falls a bit short for me personally, but I think that might just be because of the sheer amount of content, the sheer volume of stuff that's brought in. And you can't complain too much when what's there is fun. It's hours of content. Might I remind you, hours of content, two new stages, new boss fight, like 10 new characters for under £2. You can't get much for under £2 these days. And to get all of that new content, all of the DLCs, the fact that the full game with 4 DLC packs is like under a tenner. And I've put 36 hours... I've put... how many hours now? 43 hours into Vampire Survivors. And I've put just under £10 into it. there's not much that you can get 42 hours out of without a higher spend. There's a very few games you can get 42 hours out of for less. And I'm not just saying the game being cheap makes it worthwhile, and I'm not saying the DLCs being cheap make them worthwhile, but I'm saying the value for, like, the cost to fun or cost to enjoyment ratio has to be considered when talking about video games in the year 2024 in general. And when talking about video games in the year 2024 in general, bang for your buck wise, Vampire Survivors is the best video game on the market, in my opinion. And in terms of just enjoyment value, Vampire Survivors is the best game on the market. And I feel like I can easily say that now, coming to up to date with the content in the game at the moment, up to date with like content, DLCs and everything. I don't have everything, and being nearly 50 hours into a game and not having everything is, especially an indie game that was made by one person, it's insane. It's insane the amount of stuff that's here. And this is feeling like a review for the entire game, which I guess this is. We have done the entire game. We've showed off basically everything that the game has to offer throughout this playlist, this Vampire Survivors playlist, which obviously will be added to as more DLCs arrive, and the next few videos will be first impression ones. Every DLC going forward will be a first impressions video, which is going to be interesting. But my overall opinion of Vampire Survivors is stupendously positive. So good. And I can't, there is no one that I will not recommend this game to. Because of, like, sheer cost to enjoyment value. There's so much here for so little, and I cannot recommend that enough. So anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully you enjoyed. That's going to be the last Vampire Survivors video for a while, at least until the next DLC drops. I hope you guys have enjoyed my my few Vampire Survivors videos that I've done on the channel. If you found the channel through me doing Vampire Survivors, welcome. Hopefully you stay and watch all the other stuff that I do. I do want to try and make these videos a bit more interesting, a bit more fun. So kind of put in the comments ways that I can make these videos more fun. Also, I do want in the comments, let me know what your favourite DLC in the game so far is, what you think the weakest one has been. Let me know also let me know what things you want, what collaboration DLCs you want to see, and also let me know what DLCs you want to see, what ideas you have for further DLCs that aren't collaboration wise. Personally, because it's Vampire Survivors and because it's a Castlevania themed, or basically Vampire Survivors is, from what I understand, a love letter to Castlevania in art style and in presentation and in just looking at, like, it's obviously Simon Belmont and it's obviously Dracula. So I would like to see more monsters, more like Halloween monsters. We already have Dracula, we already have the Grim Reaper. I'd like to see Dracula be playable. I think maybe they're saving that for the last DLC that they do. But I would like to see more. I would like to see like a Frankenstein. I think that would be cool. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one. Peace.